conspiracy theory with regards to the Fury Wilder fight. Since that fight's happened, I've been shocked at how much dialogue's been going back and forth between the fan bases of both Fury and Wilder. And I know we touched briefly on the conspiracy regarding Fury's gloves. Can you talk a little bit about that? Just because anyone who's making these accusations about his gloves being half on, half off, have clearly never seen the process of how a professional fighter gets gloved up, especially in a title fight of this magnitude with the commissioners, the opponent's team in there. Can you talk about the gloving process and how it would virtually be impossible for a fighter to tamper with his glove placement during a fight?
Definitely. I mean, look, you were there with me. I had you there with me for my fight, Alex Fozik, and against Beterbiev. You were with me for the camp, and you were with me in the locker room. So you have a better perspective than most people out there, being that you witnessed it, you saw the process. First of all, the day before at the weigh-in, the gloves are chosen. They're wrapped. They're brand new. They're in a bag, plastic. It's opened up with the commission there. You choose. Each fighter gets to choose 2 pairs. One as a backup, the one that they're going to wear in the ring. You choose them, you try them on, everybody looks at them, checks them, everything's good, and then the commission marks them to make sure they're not tampered with. Then they take them and they keep them with them overnight for 24 hours, and you don't see them again until you're in the locker room. And again, there's a commission member in the locker room with you. When it comes time to wrap your hands, you make an agreement, first of all, when both sides are going to wrap hands. You agree maybe an hour before, okay, this camp will send somebody over to witness the wrapping. When you start, this camp will also send somebody over, and a commission member will be there on hand to witness the wrapping of their hands. After that, at the appropriate time, before you're getting ready to leave the dressing room, the gloves are put on. Again, at that time, a commissioner, a member of the commission is there to watch the wrapping of the gloves, the putting on of the gloves, the taping of the gloves. In other words, there's never a moment to tamper with the gloves. There is, years ago, when Louis Resto and Panama Lewis had that terrible situation in New York at Madison Square Garden, where undefeated and untested Billy Collins had stepped up and fought Louis Resto, and he took a terrible beating. And he was, every bone, according to what the report was, a lot of bones in his face, let's put it that way, were broken. And you could see it. He looked like he had been beaten with knuckles. And afterwards, they found out that the gloves had been tampered with, that lining had been removed. Hair, back in those days, they still used horsehair, had been removed from the gloves. Terrible. Awful. And both Resto and his trainer, Panama Lewis, was suspended for life. And Billy Collins, of course, never recovered from that. Terrible situation, that terrible beating. But that can't happen again because that was one of the things that prompted this kind of scrutiny. It should have been there all the time. But this kind of scrutiny where a commission member must always be in the locker room to watch, the putting on of the gloves and everything we just described. So it can't be manipulated. It cannot be compromised because of what I just described. Now, having said that, I saw the pictures. I don't know if Rob, we're going to be able to put pictures, and Rob gives me the thumbs up that we will. Rob always has it covered. That we'll be able to show the pictures that people are being alarmed about. And there's no doubt about it. You can look at these pictures, you can look at the video, and it does look like, in some ways, either Fury is double jointed which I think is a fair description of where all of a sudden his wrist looks like it gets longer and the glove gets longer and it flops and it looks like his fist is not in the glove, in the proper part of the glove, like the top part of the fist part of the glove is naked of the fist, so to speak, and it's just flopping out. It does have that perception. It does have that look. I have no doubt that it has nothing to do with the glove being compromised. As I said, it can't be in the dressing room leading up to the fight, leading up to the time he leaves the dressing room and gets in the ring, and the bell rings. It doesn't mean that he didn't take a different technique, that maybe he manipulated himself. And I'm going to say anything that's possible here, just to touch on all the conspiracy theories. But the one that can't be is that the glove was compromised. That I think we put to rest. But as we just said, because of foul play or anything like that, we just covered that. But could he manipulate it himself by maybe somehow, getting his hand a little bit looser where he could flop the glove a little bit, or where he pulled his fingers back a little bit? Maybe he had an extra large glove and there was a tiny bit of room to pull his glove back a little bit, his fingers back a little bit, and do what I'm doing and flap it a little bit. First of all, I wouldn't want to do that. It'd be dangerous to the structure of your hand, because you're going to try to hit a guy with a loose hand like that. Guess what? Fracture is the word that comes to my mind. Fracture, as in fractured bones, fractured fingers. It wouldn't feel too good. Second thing, you're giving up power. I mean, by opening your hand and flopping it like that, you can't throw a compact punch, a solid punch to do damage. And you are trying to do damage in that ring if anybody hasn't gotten that memo. That is kind of, Ken, that is kind of what the goal is. And listen, again, all conspiracy theories. I got you guys. I got yous today. All right? I got yous all. I got the Diet Coke here for Ken, and I got the conspiracy theory hat on, where could you be doing it, flopping it like that to maybe distract the guy? Maybe you're using your left hand, right? You're an orthodox fighter. You're using your left hand to flop it, and then you're getting a little more extension on it. Maybe you're getting another three. If you're letting yourself flop it like this and do it with an open hand, maybe you get an extra 3 inches extension where your jab's a little longer. Now, without power, without a fist behind it, without anything consequential behind it, but do you get the 3 inches? Maybe, Ken. Maybe you could get another 3 inches and distract them. Oh, my God, does he really have this kind of mindset, this man? Wow. Does Fury, I know he's nuts, but is he really, and he's a genius in nuts. I say it in a good way, too, and in a way that he's nuts. But do you, so did he really think of that? I get another 3 inches. I annoy him kind of like, mosquitoes would annoy you at a barbecue, right? And gnats and stuff, and it annoys you. You never annoy me. Okay? You never annoy me, by the way. I just want you to know that. And so he flops it out there as the setup, and then the right hand with the fist in it, closed, comes in and scores. All right. Hey, listen, if he went through all that to do that, and he could get away with that, and be allowed to get away with that without doing anything illegal, without compromising the gloves or anything that we just talked about. If he could figure out a way to just open his glove up and the referee didn't see anything, back in the old days, I'll find something. I'll find not a precedent for it, but something to compare it. In the old days when Ali used to stick his glove out and just put it in whether it was Frazier or whoever the opponent was, in his face to frustrate him and to hold him at a certain range and distance. The referee would come in and he'd smack it down. He'd say, hey, can't do that. Can't do it. So that's, so if the referee didn't notice it, either he's not looking for it and he missed it, or he didn't think that it was, he obviously didn't think it was anything that had to be the way when Ali did it, it had to be reprimanded. The referee obviously didn't think that. So if he thought that, and he was able to get that edge that way so he could set up the right hand, well, again, it's not like he did something illegal, something to the point that's criminal, something to the point that, oh my God, we have to, we got a Watergate here, or we got
Glovegate.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Glovegate, Glovegate. So that's the way I see it. I think that's the way to cover it for everybody out there, for everyone out there, people on the side of Wilder that want to maybe grab at something. We're fans. We want to grab our guy, that there could be something that was wrong if it's possible. And also the guys out there that are saying on the side of Fury, no, it's not right to say that. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. So I think we had a little responsibility because of the amount of attention brought out on some of the websites and stuff out there floating around on the internet that we should cover with a fine tooth comb, as I think we just did.